Welcome to Midweek Momentum, where faith meets everyday life. In just 15 minutes each week, Georgina Verzal shares biblical insights to help you navigate life with intentionality, clarity, and purpose. Take a quick break to recharge your spirit and renew your focus. Let's dive in.
Hey friends, welcome back to Midweek Momentum. I'm Georgina Verzal, and today we're diving into a topic that affects all of us. Anger, yes. Not a fun topic, but it's so relevant to everyday life, right? We've all been there, something that triggers us, and before we know it, we react in a way that leaves us feeling either embarrassed, regretful, or even ashamed. The truth is, friends, that anger itself isn't a sin, but how we handle it really determines whether it strengthens us or gives the enemy a foothold in our own lives. So, I want to share with you a personal story, and this is not my proudest moment, but it was a very defining one for me, so I decided to share it out loud. It's a moment that made me realize just how crucial it is to be aware of our anger and surrender it to God. I like to refer to it as my wake-up call in the desert. Many years ago, my husband, daughter, son-in-law, and I went on a fun weekend getaway to Lake Havasu, Arizona. Now, it was a much-needed trip coming out of a really busy season in life, and I remember just feeling super depleted, which is always a red flag. It was indeed a great trip, a lot of fun on the water, paired with laughter and just great company. But then, one night after a card game, something insignificant happened. Now, honestly, I can't even remember what it was, but in the moment, whether it was exhaustion, frustration, or just a quick trigger, I overreacted big time. I got up from the table, I stormed outside, and I walked into the night to cool off, which is something that I wasn't used to doing. It was ugly. After pacing back and forth on our driveway for a while, I started capturing glimpses of the bright, beautiful moon and the stars surrounding me. And before I knew it, guys, shame started to infiltrate my heart. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, what in the world was that, Georgina? Why did I just react like that? Ugh! I didn't like my behavior one bit. I found myself standing there staring at the desert landscape around me, just completely mortified. How embarrassing for my husband to see me lose my temper like that. How disappointing to set such a terrible example for my daughter and my son-in-law. Oh, I was mortified. I'd let my emotions control me, and I felt like a fool. And you know what? That's exactly what the Bible warns about. In Ecclesiastes 7:9, it says, "Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools," friends. And that hit me hard because it was in that moment that I was the fool. I had let anger win. I didn't want to go back inside. Truth be told, I just wanted to crawl under a rock and hide. But instead, I humbly did something that changed my heart. I cried out to the Lord for help. I said, God, I don't ever want to react like this again. Help me to be more aware, to control my emotions better, and to surrender my anger to you. I repented big time. And as I looked around, I started to notice the desert around me was full of these beautiful rocks. I picked one up. It was quite a large rock. I picked one up and brought it home as a physical reminder of that very night. Now, my family's had ample opportunities to poke fun at my rock that I keep in my office. I have it till today, not as a trophy of failure, but as a marker of transformation, a moment that I decided to never again let anger consume me like that. Colossians 3:8 says, "But now you must also rid yourselves of all such things such as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips." And that, my friends, became my commitment. Was I perfect after that? No, but I became very, very aware of my anger. And awareness is the beginning of transformation. And trust me, I have moments till today where I overreact. You can ask my husband that. But there are few and far between anymore. With the massive help of the Holy Spirit, I started catching myself before anger controlled me and consumed me overnight. The more that I invited him into these moments, the more self-control became easier for me. So what does the Bible teach us about handling anger the right way? The Bible doesn't tell us not to feel anger. Even God and Jesus felt anger. Jesus cleansed the temple in John 2:13. Jesus was angry when he saw people dishonoring the house of God, but his anger was righteous. It was controlled and purposeful, not impulsive and destructive. We also see God's anger at injustice in Psalm 7:11, where God expresses anger towards sin, but he is slow to anger and full of grace and justice. In Ephesians 4:26 and 27, it gives us a clear guidance. It says, "In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold." That is the key, my friends. Anger itself is not the issue. It's how we handle it. If we vent thoughtlessly, our anger can wound others and destroy our relationships. If we bottle it up, it can turn into bitterness and destroy us from the inside out. But if we deal with it immediately and righteously, we rob the enemy of any opportunity to divide, damage, or derail us. James 1:19 and 20 offers even more practical wisdom. It says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Now, let's be honest. Some of us love to talk, and being slow to speak can really be hard for some of us. But here's the good news, that we're not left to figure this out alone. The Holy Spirit is our helper, and he gives us the self-control that we need. So I have a challenge for you, which I'll call the ripple effect of godly responses. What if every time anger rose up, we made a conscious effort to react in a way that honors God? Proverbs 29:11 says, "Fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end." What if instead of venting, we turn to God first? What if instead of lashing out, we paused, took a deep breath, and asked the Holy Spirit for wisdom and responded with grace? What kind of an impact would that have in your own marriage? What about in your household, at your job, in your community? Proverbs 14:29 reminds us, whoever is patient has great understanding, but one who's quick-tempered displays folly. I don't know about you, friends, but I don't want to be the one displaying folly. That night at the lake, I was that person, but I don't want to be her anymore. So here's my challenge to you. Ask the Holy Spirit to give you an immediate awareness in moments of anger. Then, before you react, pause, take a deep breath, and pray. And lastly, choose to respond in a way that builds up rather than tears down. Because here's the truth. You may not be able to control the anger of those around you, but you are 100% responsible for how you react to it. And when you choose self-control over an outburst, when you choose patience over retaliation, when you choose to submit your emotions to God instead of letting them control you, you win. Not just you, your relationships win, your peace wins, your testimony wins, and most importantly, the enemy loses his foothold. So my final thought, friend, anger is a real emotion and you're allowed to have it, but you're not allowed to stay stuck in it. Every time we let anger control us, we hand the key over to the enemy, giving him access to our thoughts, our words, and our relationships. But when we surrender our anger to God, when we let the Holy Spirit guide our responses, we slam the door shut in Satan's face. So today, let's commit to handling anger in the way that God instructs us to do so, with wisdom, with patience, with self-control. Because when we do that, we don't just keep our peace, we keep our power. If this episode spoke to you today, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who needs to hear this message today. And this week, keep your faith strong and your momentum going. God bless you. Till next time.
Thanks for listening to Midweek Momentum with Georgina Verzal. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss a moment. Keep your faith strong and your momentum going. See you next week.